Welcome
We're
to, how many episodes is this? Three?
This is the third one.
Wow. I
Third one on Zoom.
I really like our new pacing with doing like one episode at a time.
So it's really what I wanted in the beginning before we had thought about doing it on Zoom. Like I really did want to do like
Like
almost
weekly
current
episodes.
one episode a week. Like this week, let's
Mhm.
record next week's. Like that was
Yeah.
really like the cadence of it. Because then when we talk about like current events or stuff like that, like it's timely
Yeah, it makes sense.
and like if we want to talk about like a new something that's coming out, like we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would do it like right after or something like that. And I think some of our episodes this season will be kind of like that, in the
Yeah.
next, at least in the next few weeks.
Yes. So I like it. It's been nice. So, and it definitely didn't pan out like we thought when we first started with how busy we were. But that's kind of the
Oh,
nature of like having this project on top of
yeah.
life
Like
work.
this is just a side project. This isn't, we're on a side quest right now. This is not the main story.
But if y'all come out and listen and share us and we explode, then maybe this could be our life.
Could be the main story.
So if you want timely weekly episodes regularly all year
Yes.
long, you listen and
Well
share,
researched.
well researched, you gotta we gotta spread it out so that we can
Thing
spread
that we
it
have
far and
actually
wide,
watched the night before.
right? I could watch during the day when I'm actually
That's
functional.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. But yeah, and we're going into a busy month for us and like in
Mm,
general.
yeah.
A lot happening. We have a lot going on. And then on top of that, my daughter is finishing school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're starting summer and man, do we have like everything planned. I hope this girl knows how lucky she is because like I'm taking her all over the place. And by all over the place, I mean within our immediate area because
Within your zip
we're
code.
traveling. So maybe not as lucky
Um,
as others.
yeah, June, like all of a sudden, like June got here, and I was like, oh wait, I have all this stuff to do.
hmm
But
Like it's fun. We were just talking before we started the episode about like even like this Saturday, Tracy and I have plans, but then, I also have like chore things and then other plans and like it is going to be like a full like I'm going to start at 9:15 with
of
spin because I signed up for an additional spin class this week. Big show.
course you did.
It's a pride ride.
Oh,
Um,
how can you not?
right?
Yeah.
So, um it's benefiting oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the exact organization, only LGBTQOC,
Hmm.
I think. LGBTQ Nation OC.
Thing. I don't know. Post it.
Yeah.
Post it on Instagram
I'll
when you
post it on
figure it out.
Instagram. Cycle Bar UTC in Irvine. That's where I go. Now you know.
There's actually a cycle bar in my area. It's like right by the Urbane Cafe that I go to.
Yeah, I do love it.
There's,
I love it.
yeah, it's just so funny. Like I always forget that that's the one you go to.
I've been to another cycle place that I did for work because they were doing like a donation ride for a nonprofit I was at, and it was very culty.
I feel like all spin classes are a little bit culty.
They are, but I feel like the cycle bar, at
Like
least
all
the
of
one that I'm
spin.
at, is much more like chill.
I feel like spin is a little bit of a culty thing. It's kind of like
CrossFit.
CrossFit or yeah, like I just feel like it's a little yoga. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
some yoga, not all yoga studios, but some yoga studios can be a little like not specifically yoga in general. I mean, not generally yoga,
Yeah.
but specifically like Bikram or core power or like some of those
Yeah.
like trendy yoga things like get very a
Yeah.
little culty.
You get very into the vibe and by like the vibe that they create with like the brand.
Hmm.
And it becomes like it's like a community thing, but
That's
yeah, it is a
your
little.
whole identity.
Yeah, a little bit.
There was a pull,
I
there
didn't
was
mean to
a,
talk about spin.
yeah,
It just,
but somehow it always comes up.
oh my gosh, I'm that person. I'm that person. Oh Lord, I need to phew, dial it back.
You're
All
still
that to
cooler than that
say,
person.
I added more to my Saturday. Now it's a little crazy.
So you telling me earlier that Saturday's so crazy is really a mess of your own.
That part. And then we're doing a house project. And so we're meeting with contractors. So we've got to go to the showroom to pick out materials. So that's kind of a chore
That's
thing.
exciting.
Yeah.
That'll be
Um,
fun.
and then trying to get together, some of the families want to get together
Mhm.
the afternoon for like year end. So it's kind of like I the spin thing was my fault. The rest is just like happened to all converge on this one day.
Yeah. This one day
Through
that we
no fault
already
of
had
my
two
own.
plans together, that we already had two plans.
Yes. But it'll be a good day. It'll be a great day. And none of it is work related. That's new and novel
For you.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's one of the things that like it was just June is already here and like I've known the date of my organization's gala is June 14th. Like I've just known it.
Hmm.
And yet I keep forgetting somehow. And then all of a sudden I was like making all these plans and I was like, "Oh no, I can't go that day. I have to work."
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But
Oh man. I don't miss the gala days or the golf tournament days.
golf tournament would not be my first choice, but like gala for me that kind of stuff is fun because but it's fun because my job is sitting at a desk looking at numbers and research and I mean now it's more
Yeah.
managing a team, but like my team is still looking at numbers and doing research and
Yeah.
pulling data and it's a lot of like sit at your desk kind of work where the rest of my department, like I think if I was a frontline person, I would be like, "Oh God, here we go." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it would
like
just
for
be
the
a job.
last 3 years, I have had a very big hand in the gala at the organizations that I've been at, in some capacity or another. At least the last two galas that I've been involved in, and then probably in a smaller capacity, the one before that. Well, and then even before that, I've always had a big hand in winter because the nature of my position is donor facing
Mm-hmm.
or
It was.
organizing.
Yeah, it was, but no more.
Absolutely no more. I will never set foot on another golf course. That is my goal in life.
Golf
Unless it's like
courses are
somebody's
so
wedding or
wretched.
something.
Yeah, they're
Set
so
foot on a
evil.
golf tournament.
It's
Gala,
like
I could
let's
I could be talked into volunteering at somebody else's gala someday down the road,
yeah,
not
it's fun
today.
because they're fun,
They're
you get dressed
glamorous,
up.
they're exciting, they're fun.
Yeah, there's usually like a really cool honoree,
Yeah. Sometimes
you
a
know.
performance of some kind.
Mm.
And it's usually a really good cause, and exciting but never golf tournament, absolutely never.
So just golf courses in general are so gross. Like they just totally ravage the existing ecosystem and landscape to put in like fake
Fake
landscape
landscape.
that takes like so many resources and it's just
Like how much water to get like the rough and the green exactly the way it needs to be. Plus
exactly.
the fuel in order to mow everything to
Hmm.
be perfect. 'Cause I mean, what are they mowing? Probably like every day, every other
And
day.
to do what? Hit a ball.
It's the dumbest sport. I'm
Hit
sorry
a
if anybody
ball with
here
a
likes it.
club. It's so
It
I
is the
just
dumbest sport.
sorry for the golf fans out there, but it's just not. Nope.
Mm-mm. I would rather watch football, and that says a lot about me.
And watching golf. Like, also don't understand playing golf, but I could understand that more than watching golf. The people that watch golf, I'm just like, what are y'all doing with your
You're
life?
not. Because the no,
Yeah. There was a person in my family who used to watch golf all the time, and I'm just like, but why?
no, that was my dad. He watched golf all the time, and I'm like, this is
Half the time you can't even see the ball once they hit it because like it it blends into the sky.
yeah.
I don't know. It's like, where did it go?
Then you have to be quiet. You're not even allowed to like polite clap.
Yeah.
Like,
Golf clap.
at
Oh,
least
that's
at
such a
like another
90s
sporting event,
reference.
you can be like loud and excited. That's half of the fun of watching sports
Yeah.
is the atmosphere and
Hmm.
the like the atmosphere of the crowd and the people
Yeah.
that you're with who are all excited. But at golf, it's
How do
just
you feel about baseball? Like going to a baseball game is fun.
oh, I love
Watching a
going to a
baseball
baseball
game
game.
on TV is not fun.
I
for
like
me.
going to a baseball game. I don't even like watching the game when I go to a
Cheers.
baseball game. I just
Yeah.
like to go to a stadium with good food and loud people.
Which is why I want to go see like the exhibition leagues. Like I want to go see the Savannah Bananas
That would be
because
fun.
that's a
That would be super
show.
fun.
That's a show.
Yeah.
That's like all the nerdy theater kids who were also good at sports. I'm just convinced.
Like I'm a baseball fan, but I'm not too good at it, but I'm real fun and theatrical, so I'm
Musical
gonna do
theater.
this instead.
Yeah. Like I'm really good at baseball, but I love musical theater. And I'm not good enough at baseball, but I'm still really good at baseball.
Oh my goodness. This veered.
I'm so sad that they were in Anaheim and I missed them. I didn't even know they were going to be here.
They were here?
Yes, they were in Anaheim like the weekend, like the 28th. And yeah, I
Oh
saw
my goodness.
something where
Bummer.
yeah, they brought out the Great Hambino. They were like, no, it's the Great Hambino. And he was like all mic'd up and you hear him just like talking shit to the umpire. I mean,
Yeah.
the catcher and like, you know, but yeah. And I didn't realize it in the moment. And I was like, what? What? And then I saw like on their Instagram, like, oh, we were in Anaheim. And like, I was like, oh, well, that's why he was there. Cause I couldn't figure out like why the
Yeah.
actor was like, what? It's just like, is he in Georgia? But yeah,
Oh
I think a lot of production happens in Georgia these days. But anyway,
man.
anyway,
Um,
tangent.
Unrelated to Georgia or baseball or literally anything we've just spoken about.
I mean, we did talk about baseball the first episode, League of Their Own.
Oh, I meant today's episode though.
I know, I'm just saying
Yes.
maybe baseball's our theme this month, this season.
It's the baseball season. No, I quit. I
Oh,
quit.
sorry. Anyway, we can edit that out.
No, it's funny.
It's not.
Oh,
Anyway,
but today we are talking about Devil Wears Prada.
it's completely different than baseball.
Hmm. Couldn't be more
Oh
different.
my gosh, sorry. Someone is like banging around upstairs.
Ooh,
You might not, you probably can't hear it,
I
but I
can't.
can.
I can't. But
Okay.
but it
Well,
is always jarring. Like that's I'm sure every noise that I'm having here, I'm like, oh my God, it's on there. It's on the camera.
Zoom is so like fancy these days that all of that stuff gets filtered out, but I never am sure, because like obviously you're not on the other end of your
Sure. Yeah.
microphone. But yeah.
You don't hear
Anyway,
what I'm hearing.
yeah, sure don't. Not even when we're sitting right next to each other.
That's so
Perception is so different.
or attention.
Or that. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Anyway,
So Devil Wears Prada. It was
yes.
released in June of 2006. Production from Fox 2000 Pictures, Wendy Finerman Productions, and Dune Entertainment, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. Directed by David Frankel. Screenplay by Aline Brosh McKenna, based on the book Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger, which was published in 2003. Produced by Wendy Finerman and starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci, and Simon Baker and Adrian Grenier. Um, so the movie, what?
It was like not about him, but about his character.
Oh, yeah, I know. So if you've been living under a rock and have no idea what this movie is about, despite having no knowledge or interest in fashion, aspiring journalist Andrea Andy Sachs is hired as a personal assistant to Miranda Priestley, the editor-in-chief of Runway magazine in New York City. Called the job a million girls would kill for, Andy hopes 1 year as Miranda's assistant will give her the connections to land a journalism job. After her initial indifference to the fashion world and struggling to adjust to the capricious and erratic demands of Miranda, Andy begins to absorb the runway philosophy. She starts looking the part thanks to the help of creative director Nigel and shows increased commitment, even outperforming the more senior and fashion savvy Emily, played by Emily Blunt. As she becomes more immersed in her role at Runway, her boyfriend and friends begin accusing her of becoming one of the shallow women they used to make fun of. And you can get that on Disney Plus with a premium subscription for YouTube TV or Hulu, or you can rent it from Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google Play, or Fandango.
Did it come out? What year?
6.
2006?
Hmm.
Feels like it came out earlier than
I thought it was older. I was surprised too. I thought like
that.
I was in high school when it came out, but I was in college.
I was thinking I was in college, but then it's like, no, because I was in college when The Princess Diaries came out, so definitely not.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I mean, that's all I was thinking. Because I was like, when was the first time I watched it? Like, was it in the dorms? Like, was it in like the
Yeah.
Davis apartments? No, clearly not any of
Yeah.
those places.
I know, and I was trying to, we haven't really been doing this in this new season of like when did we first watch it or see it? But
Well,
it's
we're only
one
three
of,
episodes in.
true, we can pick it back up again. But
Yeah,
I was thinking about it, and it's one of those movies that I don't remember when I first saw it, but I've
don't
seen it
either.
a dozen times at least.
I feel like movies like that where I don't remember are generally movies that I watched on video
Yeah.
first time.
I definitely did not see it in the theater.
I don't remember.
I can't imagine who in college I would have gone with to go see a movie like Devil Wears Prada,
Hmm.
a chick lit kind of movie.
I was in a sorority, so everyone. But yeah, 2006, I was in LA. I was 26 years old. Probably didn't see it in the theater though, because I was waiting tables and I probably didn't have any money. Remember. Or I didn't have a night free because
Yeah.
life.
Like I must have just watched it randomly and then
Mm.
watched it randomly
I feel like I was with people.
several more times.
Yeah. I feel like I was with people when I watched it. But it's one of those movies too that I've only seen like once or twice. I haven't seen it that
Yeah.
many times.
It's
I've seen
one,
like the memes and
yeah.
it's like Mean Girls all over. I
Yes.
mean, I've seen it except that I've seen this, but
Like you
like
know all of it.
yeah, where it feels like I know the movie by heart,
Mhm.
but I really have only watched it like once or twice before last night when I watched it for this.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that I'll put on in the background sometimes when I just want something in the background, but that I don't have to pay attention to.
Hmm.
Like when I used to work at home, sometimes I would like put something on in the background while I was working on a project so that it was just like noise.
I can't do that. I can't do that something like that with words. And even now, just like instrumental, I just get too distracted. I just need quiet. I'm
Hmm.
turning into such an old, crotchety old person. But because like I used to do my homework with the TV on and it was actually fine. But now I'm just like, no, I can't concentrate on anything. Like turn
Hmm.
the piano off. But but yeah, movies the movie that I tend to do, I call it like my housework movie is like I tend to put on like Lord of the Rings when I have to do something, but then I just end up sitting and watching them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm pretty good at, well, I'm never really paying attention to them. So I can't say
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at watching them while I do something because I'm
I
not.
feel like you're also not paying attention even maybe when you're sitting watching sometimes.
It's bad.
Yeah. Plus with phones now, it's like that I
Mhm.
think that's part of why I like going to the movies now is because like you're forced to just watch.
Yeah, just like stare, focus.
Also, like seeing something on the big screen, it's nothing like watching it on your little box at home, you know?
I saw something on the internet, like a meme or something like that, or I don't know. You see everything on everything now. It's like Instagram is full
I
of
know.
reels and TikToks and threads and all the, anyways,
Everything is everywhere.
I digress. But it was somebody's comment where they were complaining about people who get mad if you look at your phone because of the bright light. And they're like, what is with these moth people who are so distracted by my tiny little screen instead of the big giant screen? And I just like, even the person that was posting it was like, moth people. It was just such a funny term.
But like I paid to be there.
Mhm.
I paid to sit in the dark and only watch this one screen. It's
Yeah.
so rude when people like check their phone in the movies, even if they do it like, like try to do it low
It just
because
creates a
one
bright,
light
yeah,
in the entire dark is like so distracting and it's
yeah,
so bright and it's always so bright.
yes,
Like, and I hate being that person. So like I'll like leave it in my purse and be like
yeah,
ducked down, like trying to see,
sure.
contorting myself to try to see like this random spam text that I got from a Democrat or something. And I'm just like, oh, why'd you take away from my experience? But yeah, I mean, and I think that is it too. Like I think it's surprising that in LA, I think it surprises me anyway that in LA it doesn't happen as much because we're so addicted to our phones here. But also, like, this is where we make the movies. And so people are just like, oh no, I'm going to the theater to like be in the
Well,
theater.
there's a
But
higher
it depends
level of
upon when
respect
you
for the
go and
movies.
it depends on when you go and where you go. But
Sure.
a lot
As
of
with
times here,
anywhere.
yeah, it's just
But
different.
but
If you
yeah,
go to the
I
one
just
where all the teenagers are, it's just cell phone central. But like, try not to do
thought the
that.
whole term was funny. It's like moth people, like you open a phone and it's like
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen if you open your bright screen in the dark?
you know.
No one's not going to look. Like, there's not a single person not looking. Only maybe the people in front of you.
Right. Oh man. But yeah, it's a good movie. I still like
Because
this movie. Sorry.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, sit in the back row if you want to check your phone. And then it made me think of this couch in high school in the theater that we would go to. There was, um, I mean, there were two theaters that we would go to, the one on the base where we went to high school and the one on the base closer to where we lived. But in the one close to school, there was a couch in like the very back against the back wall of the theater. And we called it the makeout couch because
I
it's
was
where
just gonna
like
say, is that the
couples
makeout
would
couch?
go and like make out.
Was it like a bummer if you went with like your guy or your person and somebody was already
Didn't get the makeout couch. I only was at the makeout couch like once or twice,
there?
to be honest. Once was, and I remember we were watching The Scarlet Letter, and like I have read the book
Mhm.
or the play, but like,
We
yeah.
had a drive-in theater when I was in high school.
Oh,
Enough said.
yeah. All bets are off. Yeah. Just go park somewhere at that point. Why pay?
For the ambiance. I remember I went with one guy and it was a zombie movie. I don't even remember which one. But it was like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
couldn't tell you which one it was because I didn't watch it.
I remember the first time I ever went to a drive-in, I was maybe in college or just out of college, and my sister was young, and my cousin was living where my parents had like their place that we would go in the summer. And the three of us went to a movie and it was fun because like my sister was like maybe like 7, so she was like still little but old enough to like have a good time.
Yeah.
And so we like just got like all kinds of like candy and snacks at the gas station or something and like went to the movies. And I don't know, I mean, I'd never been, and my only reference point for like a drive-in was in Greece, when they're at the drive-in and then they've got like the speaker in
Mhm.
the window or whatever. And so I fully expected that to be the situation. And I was like, oh, where's the speaker? My cousin was like, no, you just tune the radio. And I was like, what? What is this technology?
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh my gosh, we have to talk about this
I
movie.
was just gonna say, like, we have to start talking about, okay, Devil Wears Prada.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Initial thoughts, feelings, emotions, questions.
My first thing that I wrote down was because like watching it from a perspective of having seen it and having seen like all this analysis
Mhm.
like over the last few years about it, I was like maybe working at Runway wasn't who Andy really was, but if she became what she wanted, why give it up for a guy? But then late as the movie progresses, I don't think that's why she gives it up. So anyway,
No.
but that was my very first like knee jerk. I mean, and this was like as she was like
Hmm.
leaving the interview, maybe, so it
Yeah.
wasn't even that far into the movie.
Yeah. I wrote that I wonder if it had been flipped and Nate had been picked up by like one of the top restaurants or some celebrity chef
Yeah.
in New York City and was asked to work like crazy hours under this big chef with a demanding him to like work extra events and things like that. I think Andy would have been super supportive.
Yeah, she never would have been dismissive of like his grilled cheese sandwiches
Right.
and treated them like they were a silly little thing or treated like having to buy like really good quality chef's knives. Like she never would have treated that like it was
Yeah.
like some flip like
Hmm.
frivolous thing.
Yeah.
He
Even if it
treated,
was,
and that's the thing that bothers me, I think, about him the most is that even though her job is soul sucking and and toxic, like he treats it like like it's worthless and doesn't matter.
yeah.
And she's just trying to keep her job, and he
Yeah.
treats it like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
and not, and I think I would have liked him, and I think maybe that's the point that like people are trying to get to with like their very like, modern day feminist commentary on it,
Mhm.
is like if he had been supportive in a way of like, this job is killing you, this job is killing our life together, can you find another job, versus just being like, your job is so stupid, just quit, like that. I think that was,
He was so dismissive of the work that
yes,
she was doing.
I even wrote that. I said he's so dismissive from the start.
Yeah. And then like what was so frustrating too is like she was very clear that this was a means to an end. This was a
Yes.
temporary situation to get what she,
One
and it
year.
was going to get her what she really wanted.
Anything else she wanted.
Something so
Anything else.
fulfilling, that this was a means to the end. And then she was really good at it in the end. She actually became a very good assistant and she was able to anticipate the needs and get things done, be creative to find solutions. Yes, it like killed her a little bit and it was so
Yeah.
stressful, but like she was good at it, even outperforming Emily.
You know what my next thought was?
Hmm.
Anne Hathaway is skinny.
Well, and let's just get right into that. Is that I have a whole thing about like the biggest issue that I have with that movie is the body shaming.
Yeah.
And it's not even that like when they talk about like Emily's diet where she's like I don't eat anything and when I like feel like I'm gonna faint I eat a cube of cheese. Like it is so obviously satire of like
Yes.
they are going up over the top with how like women in this industry behave.
Yes. And no.
But
I mean, like literally, yes and no.
yeah,
Um, just from, years in this industry and knowing the pressure and
yes,
hearing what people have gone through, like
yes,
it is satirical, but not quite, like, but not completely, and also that time period was so all about that. It was
yeah.
so all about like that Paris Hilton body and, just being extremely, extremely thin.
Yeah. And maybe it's because Andy and her and Nate for so long are kind of like making fun of all of the women, all of the, the people in at
Yeah.
Runway. And you kind of, as a viewer, feel like you're not meant to take them seriously.
Mhm.
But then,
Yeah. Oh, it totally makes a mockery of all these women.
which is, there are certain aspects that I think need to be called out because there's
Of course.
behavior like the diet culture is
Yes.
dangerous and unhealthy. What bothered me is how positive it was when she was like, I'm a size 4 now.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, so
He's
now,
like, okay, 6. And she's like, 4. You know what I mean? It's like when she's already so thin.
yes. And that was the message that like,
Hmm.
oh, well, now that she's a 4, she's somehow like
She's
better.
one of us.
Yeah, she's one of them and she's more accepted,
Mm.
that she's more beautiful, that now that she
Yeah.
fits this mold that they've created, where
Hmm.
when even as a 6, she was skinnier than me. Yeah,
Yeah. I haven't been a 6 in a long time. Well, that
so
was probably the age she was in the movie. The
yeah.
last time I was a 6.
And I don't
But
remember how they treated that in the book. It's been a
yeah,
the book I've only read once, and it's been a
I've
long,
never read
long,
it.
long time.
I have it, I
Um,
think, on a bookshelf. Maybe that's what I have and not the film itself. Anyway, doesn't matter.
um, but yeah, I mean, because it was one thing when you see her like start to like raid the closet and get into the fashion, and you find that she actually gains a bit of a confidence and like
Yeah.
wearing the Chanel boots.
Because there is something about fitting in too. Like whether or not it's with people you like you're around them every day.
Yeah.
And she still never became one of them. That
No.
was something that bothered me about her friends and her boyfriend, being like, you're one of those people now that you hate. And it's like, but she's not.
Mm-mm.
And she's not. And if you saw them next to each other, you would never think she was just like Emily now.
Yeah. But she had pulled pieces that fit her.
Yeah.
And not fit her physically, but like fit her, because all
Hmm.
of her outfits were a little more like
Yeah.
on the alternative side.
And at the end, she does go back to that like musty New York writer kind of look, but it's not exactly the same.
No.
She's still got her bangs, she's still got clothes that fit her. unlike the
Hmm.
blue sweater in the beginning.
Yeah.
She's wearing a leather jacket, like she still looks good, just different.
Hmm. Well, I think there's something to be said with like it's not the clothes necessarily, but it's how we, particularly as women, express our personality,
Mm,
ourselves through like our outward appearance, whether that's
yeah.
like dyeing our hair, piercings, tattoos, the
Mm,
clothes we wear. It's it's all kind of a creative outlet for us to kind of express ourselves. And some of us are very boring people and we like to wear very boring things, and that's
hmm.
okay. Some of us
It's
are very
fine.
simple and clean cut
Yeah.
people, and that's what we like. Some of us like big, crazy fashion and and so I feel like she was able to find that kind of expression where it's like she pulled these items that maybe she never would have been exposed to otherwise that fit her and her personality.
She
And that
never would have afforded, like, let's
I,
be real.
yeah. And I loved that journey for her and
Hmm.
finding like her footing.
Well, and like you look at like the little mouse that she was in the beginning,
Hmm.
even though she was like openly laughing at them talking about the belts or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't because of a confidence in her, it was because of a judgment, right? Because and judgment is usually coming from insecurity. And so then you look at her at like the arc that she goes through, like you cannot tell me she is not a better version of herself at the end. Even though she gave up a lot, like she is still more confident, more assertive, like more smarter in the ways of the
Yeah.
world, you know, more ambitious and like driven and like pulled together than she was in the beginning, you know? Like she went from like running with like coffee and jackets and
Yeah.
stuff and like to like I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly where I'm going and now I know exactly
Yeah.
how to get what I need, you know?
And I loved that scene too when she's at the party with
Mm,
Emily and she's supposed to be going to like the dinner or something and she doesn't want
yeah.
to be there. But she's done the work and she's done the research and like
Yeah.
she's like Emily is like 'cause she's sick. She can't
Hmm.
remember like some person's name
Yeah.
and Andy just like she just like so
Scene's over.
yeah.
That's the ambassador and the woman he left his wife for. Yeah.
And just like that, like she's like, oh, I know this, I can do, it was so natural and, I don't know. I loved her progression as a character and I thought it was fine. The only thing I had an issue with was how much it was like, oh, not only have I gained all that, but I'm thinner now. And
Yeah.
isn't that
And
fantastic?
that's yeah. And I feel like that's like if it's not in the book, it's definitely just a product of Hollywood.
Yeah. And I honestly can't. I mean she probably did because I mean it was very similar. There were differences. Nate was not Nate's name was Alex and
Mhm.
Alex was not as bad. Like he was nicer. He was much nicer in the book. But I understand like I it's one of those movies too where it's like Miranda is meant to be the villain, but everybody agrees that like no, Nate's the villain. It's like I love the
Yes.
movies where the like
And
somebody else
her
is the villain.
friends. And her friends. I was so mad at that scene at dinner when she just gets finished giving them like $10,000 worth of presents.
Right.
And then they take her phone and play hot potato with it. And I'm
I
like, this
would have
is
been
her
livid.
job.
This is, and I don't care like how frivolous you think the job is, but like that is so disrespectful to your friend and her work. Because
If
even
you
if
had,
you didn't have a crazy boss,
yeah. That's
it,
her job.
yeah,
That's her job. And it would have been one thing if the friend had taken the phone and been like, no, we're at dinner. You need to
mhm,
tell her, like, you can't talk right now, or you need to not answer the phone.
yeah.
That would have been a totally different thing than, like, oh, it's this stupid fashion lady. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
then to
it
get
was
all
just,
upset, like you're hurt that she took the phone away and
yeah,
yelled at
like,
you
why
for
are you mad
being
at
a
us? You
child.
know? Like, stop.
Hmm. Well, because
Oh, that was so childish to me.
her, crazy oppressive job was fine when it suited them and when they were benefiting
Just
from it. But
two
the
seconds
minute,
ago, just two
oh,
seconds ago, I love your job.
now it's
Just
not
two
serving us, so we hate it
Yeah.
now.
2 seconds ago. Not 2 seconds after she grabbed the Michael Kors bag that was like $1,500
Right.
and she said, I love your job. Was she like, let me now make fun of it and treat it like it's garbage and put you in jeopardy?
Yeah.
Only
I would have
your
been
job in
livid.
jeopardy, but your rent, your food,
Yeah.
all of it.
Well,
All
in
of
your
it.
future, because remember, again,
Yeah.
she is doing this to forge
Just
connections
as a
so that she
stepping
can,
stone.
she is building her career as a
Yeah.
journalist in, writing in magazines, and this is getting her there. I mean, and she met that publisher guy that got her the Harry Potter books. Like,
Yeah.
she was meeting really big people in the industry. Yeah, ugh, just it.
I
How
honestly,
dare they?
just the whole time, like even though he was a little smarmy, I just wanted her to leave for Simon Baker the entire time.
He
I was
was
like,
so
just break up with
bad.
your boyfriend. At least this guy will understand you.
Right. And he'll support you,
And he'll help you get your next job.
right? And then leave him then.
And then leave him. Once you're like
God.
wealthy and a famous author, then you leave him because like it's fine.
Yeah,
He helped you accomplish what you needed to.
that's all you needed.
Men have been doing it to women for generations.
And
They just
meanwhile,
needed
he
someone
can
to
save
clean
on
their
rent
house
because he
and
could
raise
probably
their
stay in his
kids.
like penthouse.
Yeah. Like they've been doing it to women for generations because they just needed someone to raise their kids and clean their house and cook their food. And then they left them for the younger model later. Like, so let's all not clutch our pearls about it. But
Mm.
yeah, I was so irritated with her friends in that moment because, like, also, like, every single one of my friends, when I worked that really intense job where I was working like 12-hour days on the regular every weekend, getting calls at 7 in the morning on a Saturday. Like every single one of my friends was supportive. Not a single one would have ever taken my phone if my boss was calling me. Might have rolled their eyes when I walked away from the table and been like, oh my God.
Mhm.
But like they never ever would have done what her friends, these
Yeah.
people are supposed to care about her, did
Yes.
to her.
And it's not even how they feel about her job, it's how they treated her for being
Yeah.
in it and for
Because
having.
like it was somehow her fault
Hmm.
that Miranda was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs bananas. You know what I mean? It was somehow her fault that this job and this industry was super high pressure and super time consuming and like everything was urgent.
Hmm.
But also like when you print a monthly publication, everything is urgent.
Yeah.
Like
The time frame is short.
it's critical.
Yeah. And let's keep in mind that this is an industry. It's not like our podcast where like if we talk about something that doesn't get released, until a month later, it's okay. But for them, like their
You miss a
industry and
trend,
their job is to be ahead of everything.
it's to set the trends.
Hmm.
They can't be like, oh, this was cute on TikTok. You know what I mean? Or like back in that day, like this was cute on this weird blog.
It's not
Like, no.
BuzzFeed.
Because by the time it got to like a blog,
Yeah.
it was over, you
Yeah.
know?
This is like we saw this thing in Paris on one runway, and now we think that this is going to be the next big thing. Here you go.
It's Miranda's whole opening monologue,
I
you
know.
know?
I can we just talk
Like
about how good Meryl Streep is in this role?
she's
I mean, in
she's so good
everything.
in this.
But like that particular scene where she is like, you know, the two belts that did look, they're so similar. Is something funny? And like they somehow you think you're exempt from this whole thing when you picked out this cerulean blue sweater that was picked for
Was
you
picked for you
by
by the
people in
people in
this
this
room
room.
from stuff.
Yeah. From this stuff. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I love when Nigel calls her out too in the closet room when he's just like, a million girls would dream to work here where you only deign to work.
Hmm.
And like,
And he's like, so quit.
and she was like, I'm trying so hard. And he's like, no, you're not,
Mm.
you know.
It's like you're not trying, you're whining.
And I loved that.
Hmm.
I feel like that's what younger generations are missing is a Nigel to be like, stop whining.
Yeah. This is the job. Do it or don't.
No, don't. Yes, it's crazy. Yes, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
And yes, it will open every door that you want it to open.
Hmm.
What do you want?
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
And like, I can't fault Miranda for how she is. Because how many men that run their companies are freaking insane.
Are
And
the
it's fine
exact
because they're
same
like,
way.
oh, but they're eccentric because they're so brilliant. And like nobody can do what they do. So, we like whatever they need, we'll make sure it happens. Like,
No one could do what Miranda did. Like,
no,
no one can do what Anna Winter does. Sorry. No
no.
one can. No one can.
Well, and there's a comment. So I do want to talk about Anna Winter. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, because she's fabulous.
Yeah.
And
And if
obviously,
everyone
like,
know, I mean, everyone knows, but if you don't know, like this book is about her.
Yeah,
It's
it's based on, so it's written by one of her former assistants.
yeah.
Was her
It's
assistant in 1999
yeah.
for a year. And
It's fictional, but based in very grounded in reality, let's say.
well, and I looked up several articles because I really wanted to dig into like, well, how much is it?
Mhm.
And the author, she like did like a interview or something with Daily Mail. Oh, it'll be in the show notes.
Mhm.
That it wasn't a one-to-one portrayal of Winter, but of course my time with Vogue informed the book. There's no denying that. And even Anna Winter herself has said, it was in like a BBC article, that she was asked about the comparison, and she told BBC, for the audience and for the people I work, it was, oh, let me start over. That it was for the audience and for the people I work with to decide if there are any similarities between me and Miranda Priestley.
Very Miranda Priestley answer.
I know. Like, I, what do I care?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well,
for
and I
you to
love when
tell me.
Miranda says that,
Yeah.
like about because of the divorce, and she's like, I don't care what they think. I
Hmm.
don't care what people say about me, but my girls,
Yeah.
you know, like that. And also, it was like her what, second, third husband? He
Hmm.
knew what he was getting. He knew what
Right?
he signed up for.
Did you expect her to be home
And
all the time?
and it's probably why he signed up for it.
Hmm.
And then I said to someone, because we were talking about some relationship that someone was in, like celebrities or something. And I was like, I think women get in relationships. I was like, I think a lot of women get into relationships to fix men. And I think almost all men get into relationships to break women. It's so true in Miranda's relationship, right? Like, we don't know anything about her husband. We don't know anything about what happened. But from an outside perspective of like, he's not her first husband.
Hmm.
She had her reputation long before they got married.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was getting. And I think because he wasn't the one to change her
Yeah.
and break this like dragon lady down, that's why he left,
Yeah.
you
But
know?
to marry somebody like Miranda Priestley and think that there's going to come a day when she chooses him over her job.
Oh,
She is exactly who and that's the thing is like when
she's
people
who
tell
she
you who
wants to
they are,
be.
when people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yeah. And
And
she's who
she
she
is
wants to be.
exactly.
She wants to be that way. She wants her life to be her work. I mean, she sabotaged one of her closest friends
Hmm. To
for
save
her
her
to
job.
keep her job.
Yeah. You know,
That's the most important thing to her.
yeah.
Her job is the love of her
And
life.
if it is the most precious thing to you, I mean, maybe aside from her children, but even then, like, I don't know. If it is, why wouldn't she go to do that to protect it?
Yeah. And why wouldn't she expect people who want the same thing to work for like why wouldn't she
Yeah.
expect the same from people who work from her for
And
her?
that's what she probably assumes that everybody that's there, she's like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Everybody wants to this. Everybody wants to be us
Everyone wants to be us.
because everybody around her does,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, and Andy getting the job was even just a fluke. They were going to send her away, but Miranda was tired of the bad
Take a
assistants.
chance on the smart chubby girl.
Yes. But
Ugh.
yeah, but
But
that's
like
exactly it.
she was like,
Like,
because I thought maybe you'd be different.
mm-hmm,
At the end of the day, she was.
mm-hmm. But I do have to say about there is one line in the books that I do kind of wish had made it into the movies. So at the end of at the end of the movie when we find out what Miranda did to Nigel to save and to like
Mm.
um get that Jacqueline
This
out of
conversation is very, very assuming that you have watched this movie or read the book or both.
yeah.
We're not going real into the plot.
Nope. Figure it out yourself.
Go
I
watch the
say
movie and
that
then come back.
nicely. I do recommend the movie. Like it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
It is, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Aside from like the drums, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, and it's colorful and it's fashion and like there is a lot of like lightness and goodness
Mhm. There's
about it.
tons of like funny one-liners. I think my
Yeah.
favorite one-liner in the whole movie is when Andy is leaving and says, "Wish me luck," and or no, Emily goes, "No, shan't."
Yeah. Yes. Can we talk about Emily Blunt in this movie for like 3 seconds and just
Yes,
like how ridiculous she is at playing such a bitch?
I love
Like
it.
she's so good at it, you
Yeah.
know? Like it's just and she's so fun to watch.
She's just she nailed the role.
There's
Um,
this story that she told about John Krasinski, like when they were dating or like early on in their relationship or something. She came in, like she came home and he was watching Devil Wears Prada because like that's the whole thing. Like he was a huge fan of hers and he like approached her in
yeah,
a restaurant or something. And who knows what's true because like Hollywood, but
yeah.
like but he was a huge fan of hers and like that's how they got together. And she said she came home and he was watching the movie and like she was like and literally he just was like it's my favorite outfit like to the empty room. Like it was like the clothing montage or something when she's like
Yeah.
coming in all the new outfits or whatever and he's just like and that's my favorite outfit.
Oh my God, adorable.
Yeah,
Oh man, yeah. But she's so good in the movie.
she's so
Um,
good.
but anyway, so that's like the ending, and like Andy just has this change. It's like, no, I'm out. Like I would never, I'm not that person. I could never do that to somebody that I care about, and walks away.
You did.
And it's a pretty
But you
like
did. But she
what?
did. And
I
when
know.
she realizes she's becoming that,
Yes.
she
She's like,
goes.
oh,
You know
because
what I mean?
you did it to Emily.
Yeah,
Although
you just did.
she didn't really have a choice though, in my opinion. Like, what was she gonna do? It was either her or no assistant. Like Emily
Go or
wasn't gonna
quit.
go,
Honestly, it was go
yeah.
or quit, you know.
So I mean, some people
But
give
that
her
was
such a
Miranda's
hard
option.
time about like she didn't make that decision. Miranda made that decision.
But it was also that was Miranda's choice.
Hmm.
Sell out Nigel or lose your job.
Yeah,
Your job that you have given everything else in your life
yeah.
for. What are you going to choose?
I can't say, but anyways, the in the book, it's
Or the hypothetical you,
yeah,
not you.
yes.
You.
The book, it's a lot. It's more public. And
Hmm.
at the end of it, Andy, there's like a big blowout between Miranda and Andy, where Andy ends with, fuck you, Miranda, fuck you. And, and I'm like, that would
I
have
need
been
to read the book.
beautiful.
I need to read the book. I need to read the book.
I'm like, oh man, that would have been a good line.
I do think in that is the moment where like I don't want to say like Andy comes back to herself, but I think that's where she like it's a recentering for her, you know,
Yeah.
of just like, oh shit, I am now in this moment the person that
Yeah.
I hate, you know, versus just because I wear different clothes, I'm a hateful
Yeah.
person. Like, no, I just need to fit in at work. And like, yeah, anyway.
Hmm.
Um, well, and like I don't remember if this was about Paris or about something else, but when Miranda's like, if you don't go, I'll assume you're not serious about your future at Runway or any other publication. And like, my note was, that's the thing about dream careers. They take everything, not not being an assistant, but being like a writer. Artists always pay their dues.
Hmm.
Like and there's truth to that.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone, right? Because Nepo babies exist, but like everyone who came up from nothing, like they gave up everything.
Yeah.
Food, a lot. Shelter, new clothes, you know.
Hmm. I'm going to sacrifice this because I need new headshots. And I'm going to give up that shift because I have an audition that I need to get to.
There was an acting book that I had. The first like one of the first chapters was like, unless you are independently wealthy or the child of very wealthy people who will give you money, don't do this job. It's so expensive. It's
Hmm.
so expensive. Even back when I was doing it, like the numbers now are like even like $500 for headshots, 250 to 500 was pretty normal for two looks. And
Hmm.
like that was so much money. And it's even still now a lot of money, but I'm sure it's more expensive now.
Yeah.
And there was like this super famous like headshot photographer that one of my friends shot with $1,000. a
That's,
thousand
especially
dollars.
when
But
you're
they
like
did like
young and
Julie Bowen's
struggling.
headshots or something. What?
when you're young and struggling, that's so much
You're
money.
25 and like waiting tables
That's like a
and
month's
making
rent more.
maybe $100 a day. Like, and you did a really great job if you made like $300 in one night. But
Right.
like that was all the money you made, so you made maybe like $500 a week.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, everyone pays their dues, you know?
Yeah.
And if and her career was art. Like writing is an art form. It's not even journalism, you know? It's not let
Yeah.
me go and start in as assistant and work my way up to coordinator and manager and director and VP, you know? It's there's not a clear path
Yeah.
because it's also based so much on if people just like you or not.
Yeah. I mean, because either you're writing for a publication or you're not. You might be writing like blog articles or doing, this,
Yeah,
that,
she
and the
could fuck up
other.
her job and walk out, but like
Yeah.
then Miranda's going to call every publication in New York or anytime someone comes to her for a reference, she's going to be like, "No, she was terrible.
Yeah.
Don't hire her."
But
Um, I did say that about Miranda too. I wrote, if she was a man, no one would notice anything about how good she is at her job. Oh no, it was a quote from the movie. Andy said that. If she was a man, nobody would notice anything but how good she is at her job.
yep.
I did. And someone else, like another quote that I wrote down was like, you want this life, there are choices that those choices are necessary. And it's true. Like if this is the life you want, this
Yeah.
is what you have to do to get it.
Yep.
You got to screw your best friend over. You've got to let your marriage fail. You've got to let someone else raise your kids.
Yep.
That's the only way to have this. And then I think that was the decision that Andy made at the end. And not like, oh, none of this was ever who I was. I don't think it was that. I think she was just like, I actually don't want this life.
Yeah.
But I did write, how is she getting home? She quit her job in Paris.
Did she already have a return flight? I assume she already had a return flight.
I would assume they're like on the Condé Nast plane though, or the whatever the publisher.
That's true. Well, sometimes the assistants fly separate.
Maybe, but my point being,
Yes.
she quit her job in Paris. How is she
That's
getting home?
pretty risky. Well, she could have asked the one guy,
Yeah.
Simon.
Simon Baker's character.
Yeah.
Put it on a credit card.
Whose name I totally forget. What was it? Christian. Christian Thompson. God, he was so
Never
cute.
happened to Simon Baker, man.
I haven't seen him in anything. Or I didn't know I saw him.
He was on some show, The Mentalist or something. One of
Mhm.
my friends was like really into it. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wrote something else about the frivolous boyfriend or the boyfriend, problematic boyfriend.
Hmm.
When he's like, for what? For shoes? And I wrote, no, for a career.
For really expensive shoes.
And I was like, he still doesn't get it. Also, for like,
Yeah.
let's not joke around. Those Chanel boots were probably like $2,000 to $3,000, if not
Right.
more. A girl I went to acting class with around the same time, like her family was wealthy, but she had on a pair of Chanel boots that she paid $2,000 for.
I don't even know. I would be afraid to wear them out.
It was more than my rent.
That's crazy. Um, this is kind of a tangent, but one of the details that I really loved,
Mm-hmm.
with making the parallel between Miranda and Anna Winter is the sunglasses,
Yes.
the signature sunglasses.
I don't know if I've ever seen Anna Winter's actual face
I did,
without
what's
them.
funny is when I was looking up stuff,
No,
I
I
did
have,
actually
but
find a picture. But that's true because she always wears them. And even like Miranda took them off a lot and she was like wearing her glasses like
yeah.
indoors and stuff. But just like that little detail of every time, when she's like had him, like I was like, that's such an it is Anna Winter.
And that's the thing. Like, yeah, it is not her. Every
No,
detail is not the same, but there's no denying that that is who Miranda is based on, you
yeah,
know. There's no denying that Runway is based on Vogue, blah blah blah.
100%. Like
Yeah, like
you're really in denial if you don't believe that.
yeah, I mean like Anna may not have ever like like sold out her best friend without telling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she may have never done something like
She
that,
probably
but
never demanded to be like, fly me home in a
in
hurricane.
a
Like,
hurricane,
give me
maybe
the
not.
unpublished manuscript of the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, maybe not, but
But like,
like.
She did, but that's the author has said, like, yeah, there were times like that, and she's like, Andy isn't me. But like obviously there's like parallels. But she's like, and one of the things is she's like, I couldn't do the heels. Because she's like, I was off getting like coffee like three times a day from
Running.
Starbucks, like running up
Yeah.
and down and up and down. So like all of that stuff, like I would not be surprised if the whole skirt thing was a total like, give me 12 skirts or somebody else with your questions.
Yeah. I mean, and let's be real, like people at that level with that money in any kind of like entertainment
Yeah,
industry can be completely unreasonable.
yeah.
I mean, I think anyone at that level can be completely unreasonable, but somehow especially like entertainment people.
Like there are lines that I just would not be surprised were real lines. Like, can somebody get me that piece of paper that I had in my hand yesterday? Like that sounds like exactly somebody in a high-end leadership position would say.
I mean, like, and I've worked for like leaders, but no one at that level of fame and
Yeah.
pressure and, whatever. But like that is definitely something that I have definitely been asked.
Yeah.
You know? Like, where's that thing I had? I don't know. But I have worked for people where I'm not afraid to be like, what thing
Yeah,
and when,
exactly.
you know?
No.
Yeah.
But yeah. I love by all means move at a glacial pace. You know how
You
that
know how that
thrills me.
thrills me.
I love all of her lines. And she
I
delivers them
know.
so like brilliantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, any
All of my notes are basically the same. Screw you guys. She's doing a job to get
yeah,
where she wants to go. Why don't you see that?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I thought that the whole time too about her boyfriend, like what you were saying, like she never would have treated him that way
Hmm.
because his career was serious.
Right. Being a chef. Making grilled cheese, that's so serious.
I did like at the end though, like he's going to Boston to be a chef, right? And she very clearly gets a job in New York. And I
Yes.
loved that moment where it was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm not quitting this job to go chasing after this guy.
Yeah.
I'm quitting this job because it is no longer in alignment with who I am
Hmm.
or who I want to be.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting another job, still in New York,
Hmm.
still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that.
in
I
the
love that it wasn't like the Boston Globe or something. You know what I mean? That it was just like, clearly you're staying here in New York.
yeah. The her trajectory in the books, there's a sequel to the book. I think there's actually two sequels. I didn't read the
Yeah.
book one. I've only read the second one. Um, and it was let me think. I just totally lost my train of thought. God, I love it when I do that.
Her trajectory.
So her trajectory, it's really interesting because in the sequel, and so from what I've read, the new Devil Wears Prada sequel is not based on the book sequel, which is called Revenge Wears Prada. Uh,
Mm.
but that Revenge Wears Prada book, Andy and Emily end up running a high-end bridal magazine together,
Oh my gosh, I love it.
right? And it's like
So
perfect because
ridiculous.
Andy is like she's writing all of the articles and doing
Hmm.
all of that, and Emily is like attending the parties and getting
Hmm.
the like marketing sponsor, the marketing
Yeah,
ads and all of this stuff. And they're both using exactly what they're perfect and great at to like
I love
create
that.
like beautiful magazine.
I love that.
I can't even remember what
You,
kind of chaos ensues, but
you really have to watch Running Point on
yeah.
Netflix. It's Kate Hudson, Brenda Song, basketball. Like, I know not your favorite, but
Is this
like
the one
it.
where she owns the team?
Yeah.
Becomes like the first female owner of like a basket. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm in. I'm
It's
in.
I think personally it is very, 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 very loosely based on Janie Buss, the owner of the Lakers.
Hmm.
Or what like her family owned the Lakers at one point. I don't know if,
Yeah.
and I think she's still an owner, but I don't think her family's the only owner. Um Jeannie, Jeannie, Jamie? No, I don't think it's Jamie. I think it's like Jeannie. Um but anyway, she was a guest on a podcast that I listened to, and She's so interesting. And I like just listening to her, I was like, oh my God, you're so cool. And this was like long before Running Point came out.
Yeah.
And but she had done Playboy. She had done like, I don't know that she was like a wild child, but like, you know, grew up in LA, super rich family, that kind of thing. And that's Kate Hudson, like in that show, she's like her family owns the team, like her dad owned the team, and now her
Mhm.
she and her brothers, like, it's a whole thing, but
Yeah.
you need to watch it. You need to watch it. But it's very like it's cute. It makes me feel like that. It's that similar kind of like this is what you're good like she and Brenda's song. It's like this is what you're good at. This is what I'm good at. But you were talking about her going out and get all the marketing things like that made me think about Kate Hudson's character, Isla, and that she like there's a moment where she goes out for like brand sponsors.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Love it.
and on that note,
Yeah.
from baseball to basketball in
Good bookends.
1 hour flat.
Oh man. Any last favorite quotes, parts, bits?
Um, I don't think. I mean, no, but I think that I think my favorite. I don't have like a quote, but I think that moment with her and Nigel, and her just like whining, and him being like, "Then quit."
Hmm.
No, you're not trying. You're not. You know what I mean? Like I love that moment because
Yeah.
I think that was the moment that was the wake up call for her
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm
I can't come in here and just do this halfway and expect to get something in the end.
exactly.
I've got to jump in feet first and just like do this.
Emily's not silly for being the way that she is.
Mhm. Emily is pursuing what she wants
Her dream.
and
Yeah.
doing everything she can to get it.
And that was Emily's thing too in the very
Yeah.
beginning. She was like, if you work here for a year, if you have a good reference from her, you can get a job at any magazine you want.
Yeah. And I think Emily specifically wanted to be at Runway.
She loves fashion.
She could be the next Nigel once Nigel moves up,
Yeah.
Like that's her trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ending, I'm sorry, I'm just relating it to
Yeah.
something else. I've been watching like all of the Chicago PD Med fire. I finally got through everything and I am now caught up to this most recent season. I watched 13 years of television in I don't know how many months, but there's a moment where one of these characters on Chicago PD there's like Hank Voight and he's like the sergeant of this intelligence squad in the Chicago PD and like he's kind of like one of those like bad cop kind of people, like there's a point that he gets arrested in the beginning, like he's just like not a nice guy. I think that's how they originally wrote his character to be like just a really like jerk of a cop. But then as the show evolves, like you actually realize like, oh no, he's a good guy. He's just doing what he has to in like the shady underworld of Chicago, like, whatever. And then there's another guy like on in the squad, Jay, who's like out of the army and he's just like good, solid, like wants to do the honorable thing all the time, wants to do the right thing all the time. And when he leaves the show, Hank's like, you don't have to be me. Like, you don't want to be like me? You don't have to be me. You don't have to be like me. And Jay's like, no, that's the problem. I want to be like you. I want to be you. And that's why I have to go. Because, like, who Hank was not who Jay was. And I feel like there's like that moment of like Andy and Miranda in the limo when she's just like, oh no, I will become you
Yeah.
if I am not careful. And I don't want that.
Mhm.
But anyway, sidebar.
I love
Sidebar. My favorite
Yeah.
moment is Nigel.
I don't know that I have a favorite moment, just like little quotes.
Yeah,
No, shan't. I love it when British people say shan't.
that's all.
That's all.
So we should end it.
That's all.
That's all.
I can't end it like that.
Oh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Cut. Cue me.
And done. Um, yeah. Final thoughts from you?
Um, no, I don't think I do. Um, I do have a quote. I've wrote down a few quotes. There's one that Emily says. I rarely say this to people who aren't me, but you have got to calm down.
I love that. That is such a good moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I love. Like, go see it because it's funny, it's insightful. There are problematic elements, of course,
It is
but
very much a product of 2006.
yes, I'm excited. I'm really, really, I guess my final thought is I'm really excited to see what they do with the sequel because we live in a much different world than we did, 19 years ago,
When
right?
like almost 20 years ago. By the
Yeah.
time it comes out, it'll be over 20 years ago.
Yeah. Like like as women, I think our understanding, like feminism, I think is in a much different place than it was then. It still has a lot far to go, don't get me wrong. But I am excited to see what they bring to it. I would love to see more like diversity in the cast. But I do want to see, like, I want to see Emily Blunt and Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep again, but in like with a new cast of characters and a new like I'm excited to see what they do.
New Emily.
Mhm. So we'll see.
Anyway, well, yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Mhm. Oh,
But
and
he
we'll
is
get a
Rita.
return of Nigel too.
Yes. Oh, Stanley.
He's the only straight man that I love watching play a gay man. Not the only, but
Yeah, I mean, he does it well.
he does it very well. Um,
He's also just like so refined these days, like nowadays, like he's just so refined and elegant that it bleeds into who he is, I think, a little bit,
do you ever
or
see
like who he is bleeds into his character, one way
you
or
ever
the
see
other.
the
Because like,
videos of him like cooking at home?
I
God.
love them. I love them. And I mean, and I like thinking about Julie and Julia,
Oh, he played,
like,
mhm,
you know,
forget his actual name, but Mr. Child.
yeah. But and that character too is it, it's got this essence of the Tooch.
Yeah, the Tooch. Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's a good,
Stopping point.
yeah. Otherwise, we'll just keep going on more tangents.
Oh my God, I know. Far too many.
Oh
Well,
man. Well, we'll see you next time.
yeah, that's all.
But Is It podcast is produced by Traci Mueller and Beth Hofeldt,
The artwork is by Anna Apperson.
and music by Devin Wall.